Hey, everybody, it is Scott Steen with winnersandwhiners.com coming to you with the Tuesday edition of Today in Sports Betting. So we're going to start off with the NBA. Scott, little basketball after a lot of basketball. That was quite a game yesterday. You and I and Dave were all on the right side of that one. You and I had that. We thought it would go over, and by all rights, it should have. Who knew it would be Baylor taking their foot off the gas in the last 10 minutes to keep that one under? Just brutal.
Well, that happens. Yeah, you said you like the over also, right?
Yeah.
Dave had the under, I think.
He did. He is the winner of the contest. Congratulations.
Truth is, I was a game behind anyway, and I knew going in that he was going to take the under. I was kind of on the fence, but knowing that a tie wasn't going to do it for me, or for the sake of it, tying with Dave on the final game wasn't going to do it for me.
Right.
I was kind of priced into the over, and when the live line goes to 177 on the live play and ends up landing at, what it land at, 156, I think? Give or take, something like that.
156, yeah,
Doesn't
right.
matter. The point is the game died. It should have gone over. If it went over, I would have won. But It happens, I'm not going to be mad about it. The guy lobbied for totals, and he won in a total. So, congrats to him. But I gave it a good run. It still was profitable. We all were. The consensus was profitable. So if you joined us for the tournament or for the full year, you probably made a decent amount of money.
Congratulations. Yep, you definitely made money. So we're going to see if we can keep it rolling with the NBA, Scott. We've got a pretty good slate of games tomorrow. We don't have a ton of lines, but one of the lines we do have is the early TV game, and that's going to be the Philadelphia 76ers and the Boston Celtics. Now, I do have a premium on this, so I don't want to give away my side, but we will talk about the total a little bit, and I'll let you wax poetically as far as the side goes. So Embiid is going to be back for this one. Scott, tell me who's going to guard him.
Is that a trick question?
It's an honest question.
The fact of the matter is Boston has switched to a smaller lineup because they use Robert Williams, who I really like. I've mentioned how I like Williams in the past. Mm-hmm. The only issue is that I don't exactly think he's big enough to stop Embiid. The only question that you have left is with Embiid. He's only played one game since he returned. He had the day off against Memphis, which I know screwed you, but they just wanted to ease him back. But you look at Embiid here, and he played 29 minutes, and that's the only game that he's played in about a month.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming you'd agree he's going to be on some type of minute restriction. I'd be shocked if he goes over 33 in this game.
Well, here's the deal.
I know it matters. I'm just throwing it out there.
I looked this up. He only averaged 31 and a half minutes to start the season.
Okay. Sounds
good. So playing 29, not all that far under where he usually was, and he's got almost a full 3 days of rest. So
yeah, the point is that whenever the 76ers play Boston, and Boston has dominated in the playoffs in recent years, Embiid kills this team every single time they play. Like, they just can't guard him. And if you
played him twice this year, he's had 42 and 38.
They can't stop. It's just the way that you have to look at the matchup here. So I got to look at the 76ers -1. Now, I know the Celtics have been playing better lately. They're 25 and 25. They have been good. However, they won 2 games in a row. They beat Houston by 16. Congrats, I guess. And then beat Charlotte by 30, which sounds impressive, except for the fact that LaMelo Ball's injured and Gordon Hayward's out for about 4 weeks. And without those two, you have Rozier, Graham, and that's basically it. PJ Washington on a good day.
Yeah.
Like, Charlotte's going to fall apart. The team's terrible. I think you'd agree with that.
What you're saying in shorthand is neither one of those were very impressive victories.
What I'm saying is Boston looked good, but when you beat up on garbage time teams, then, well, you're probably going to struggle against good teams, and Philly's a good team.
Yeah, and they struggled against Dallas. They struggled against New Orleans. Both of those were home games.
I'm saying that the issue that I have with NBA, it's also some media coverage because a lot of people just expect Boston to be good. They overreact whenever a team shows any sign of life.
Yeah.
They played nobody. Am I supposed to be impressed that you beat a team that 98% of the teams could beat with Houston? Like, no, I'm not supposed to be impressed by that. I think you'd agree Charlotte's probably going to fall out of the playoff picture. They're going to fall into the play-in game because that team, with all those injuries, awful. Really bad.
Yeah, they're not good. They're not.
Yeah. It's not their fault. I mean, their best players got injured. It's just unfortunate, but that's the way it is.
It's a heartbreaker. It really is. As far as the total goes, I've got to lean to the over here. I think Boston's small ball lineup, I think they're going to find some success, but on the defensive side, I'm not sure what they're going to do to slow down Embiid. I think I wouldn't be surprised to see these two teams trade blows and go over that 223.
Well, looking at the two games this season, they played the first game in Philly, ended up landing at 226.
Right.
But again, at Philly, landed at 232. This one was in Boston, but both these games have gone over by at least 3 points. So I got to like the over as well. If Embiid ends up giving you 30 plus, which he should, especially with the shorter lineup, I still think that Tatum and Brown should play well, assuming Brown's 100%. But yeah, I got to like the over here. I just think Embiid's going to be that much of a matchup problem.
Agreed. I think that's the play there. You and I are both on the over. You're on Philadelphia, and I do have a preem there. So now, normally we take a look at the other TV game, which, wow, believe me, that when I can say that you feel the excitement of this Milwaukee Golden State game, but we don't have any lines on this one. Spoiler alert: I probably like the Bucks to cover as long as it's a respectable number. But
I know that so a couple of books have opened somewhat offshore, mostly around 6 or 6.5.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I might have a play that I own it, I might not. I still got to figure out what I want to do, but yeah, one of these teams has definitely played a lot better than the other one.
Yeah, I've been impressed by this Bucks team on their West Coast swing. I think they've done a good job. They've done what they need to do. Mm-hmm. So Scott, let's take a look at another interesting game there, and this is can we call them the surging Trailblazers? Is that fair?
It's definitely one way to put it. I mean, if you look at where they are ranked in the Western Conference, definitely higher than people thought with all the injuries. This team, when I've watched them, has been pretty inconsistent, mostly because of the fact that it seems like whenever I actually watch them play, either Lillard or McCollum have an off night. I haven't actually seen both of them play well all season long together. But, yeah, they got Nurkic back, who is – I don't even know how to describe how he's played this season. Decent.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. I feel like he hasn't been as great as people thought he was going to be, but he's still been decent.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, still a good team, and they face a pretty solid team as well in the Western Conference with the Clippers.
So we have the Clippers favored by 5.5 here, and 226 is the number. Now the Clippers, they've also been playing very well. Both these teams are 7-3 over their last 10, and we were about ready to write off the Clippers. Not write them off. They're obviously going to make the playoffs, but as far as being a contender for the lead there, I think you and I were just a couple 3 games away from giving them the old heave ho. But they have righted the ship here, starting about the middle of March.
I never changed my mind on them, but they have played better lately.
You hate the Clippers.
I do. I don't think that they're built for playoff success. I think that they're a good regular season team, if that helps. But for a playoff perspective, I don't really think they're that great because I look at that team. Kawhi, I do acknowledge, is very good. I think that people expected him to duplicate whatever he did with Toronto that one year, which is almost impossible because that was one of the best playoff runs I've seen in recent years, especially with the injury he had to overcome. But the question is, do you trust Paul George? I don't. Every time I watch him on TV games, he stinks. And in big moments in the playoffs, he's bad. And you look at the rest of the supporting cast, he traded off Lou Williams. I know Rondo is supposed to give you some boost. We'll see how that works out. Who's your main third option offensively? You know, Luke Kennard coming off the bench?
Yeah.
That's going to win you a title?
Yeah, that is the problem. That is the problem with the Clippers, especially lately. They've been doing it on the defensive side of the ball. They broke through for 120-plus against Philly and Milwaukee, but other than that, they've kind of struggled on the offensive side. And,
I watched them against Orlando, so maybe I just picked bad games to watch teams because I watched Utah play today against Dallas. I think that team's overrated as well, but then again, I've only really watched them occasionally. No offense to the Jazz, but I don't think anybody's going out of their way to say let's watch the Jazz tonight.
Well, nobody's rating these teams, Scott. They're in first.
I am in my head.
Record.
Well, I'm saying the number one team, but I'm sure a lot of people do think that they're a sleeper in the West or they're being disrespected. No, I think they're pretty much where they should be. I think that they are a pretty good team. That's probably, I'd say, second tier.
Well, you think the Jazz are second tier?
In my opinion, out of the entire NBA, yes. I don't think they're going to win a championship.
Okay.
I don't think they're coming out of the West. So that's just my opinion.
Well, they're a homer team, Scott. They're 22-2 at home.
Yep.
So
And those two games, I believe, came on the first two home games of the year. So I think they've won 22 straight.
Yeah, they're just 16-10 away from the friendly confines there of Mormon Village. So who you like in this one?
If I had to pick, I'd go with the Clippers. I know I've roasted the Clippers, and I mentioned how I don't really like this team's depth, but Portland, they're on pace for the second worst defense in the history of the sport. We talk about it every time that they're on. I know that we talked about the Portland-Milwaukee game leading up to the weekend. I know we kind of disagreed on the sides on that one. What did Giannis have, 45?
Yeah.
Like, they can't guard anybody. I know that
if you can't guard Giannis, that doesn't mean you can't guard you.
No, I know. But I'm saying defensive efficiency-wise, when you're second worst, you actually can't guard anybody. So I'm not surprised that Portland gives up 120 as soon as they walk into the gym. I think that the Clippers defensively, even though I do like Lillard and I do like McCollum, you got some serious matchup problems with Kawhi and Paul George. If Paul George actually shows up and plays well, they can clamp down defensively. Portland can't. And I think that's the main difference of this game. I just think that Portland, if this game is close, I don't trust them getting stops. Do you?
No. And that is their problem.
I want to like Portland because I really like Lillard as a player, and I think Covington's a good role guy, and I think Nurkic is pretty good, but they can't guard anybody.
No, and they were kind of exposed a little bit against Milwaukee. They kind of built a pretty good record there on some not so great competition, and they showed it again against Oklahoma City as they win that one by 48 in their last game. For
the record, I'm rooting for Portland because I do have the Suns to win the division, and they barely beat the Rockets like I thought they would on the radio show. I said that I don't like laying 14.5 with the Suns because every game they play is close. So I'm rooting for Portland because I need some extra gap between the Clippers and the Suns. It just seems like a game the Clippers win pretty handily.
I'll take the over 226 too.
Well, that would be my favorite play out of all of them. I'd have to like the over out of anything, but from a side perspective, I'll lean Clippers, but I do like the over as well.
Yeah, I think you have to until the Blazers showed that they can do it against the top-notch competition. I'm probably not going to buy in completely on the Blazers resurgence yet.
The only thing I know is
I am buying in on their lack of defense.
The only thing I know is that they played earlier this season, about the 5th game of the year. So McCollum was healthy and Nurkic was healthy. Clippers won by 23.
Yep.
So I know that was a couple months ago. I don't really think Portland has done anything to change the way that this team plays. I know Norman Powell is a good player. Also doesn't play much defense. So, sure.
And that game landed 233, by the way, with a 222 and 225 and a half total. So
yeah, and Portland only scored 105 in that game.
Correct.
So you're looking at a situation where if the Clippers actually play the way that they should against a team that basically gives up free shots, for charity, I think the Clippers should probably score again 125.
Yep.
So
agreed.
Yep.
All righty. Anything else on the card grab your attention?
Looking at the rest of the card, I don't want to lay that many points with Denver, but Detroit's pretty bad. I know it's 13.5. I'm really interested by this Memphis and Miami game because I know they played earlier in the year. Miami was missing a decent amount of players. Total is at 217.5. I feel like that total's too high. I would lean under there because Miami still plays elite defense, and they did a pretty good job of slowing down Memphis the first time these teams played. You have any thoughts? I just think 217.5 is a little too high.
Yeah, Miami really does have it going defensively, but the other problem there is, you're kind of suffering from lack of competition as far as who they've been doing it against.
Do you consider Memphis a good team? You say lack of competition. I don't exactly think that Memphis is a world beater.
Well, they've been playing well lately.
What is Memphis, like they're a playing team right now?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
That's fine.
Memphis is 8th, so in a normal situation they would have made it. But
I would lean under. I just assume Miami's going to try to dictate the pace.
Okay. All right. You know what?
That's basically it, honestly.
How many points do I get? How many points am I getting with Memphis here?
You're getting 5.
I'm taking them. They've covered 8 of their last 9.
Okay. And the one game I'm kind of curious about, which I don't know if you want to talk about at all, it's the Raptors and Lakers. I see the Raptors are laying 2.5. They won a buzzer beater today against Washington with no Beal. I know the Lakers are awful. Toronto's really still laying points.
I don't get it, buddy. This Toronto team has been an enigma to us for most
There's a
of
no total. I love the under, but I don't know what the total even is because it's not listed. But if the under was posted, it would probably be a premium play. It would probably not a premium play because I don't have those, but it would probably be a play that I don't know how that game gets into the 210s.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
But I think that under, whatever that line is, if it's somewhere above 210, I would take the under.
We have ridden that Lakers under pretty hard.
Toronto's not a great offensive team either.
No. Oh, so, no, not in any stretch of the imagination.
So I like the under there.
Okay. All right, that's solid.
But that's all I got.
All right, my friend. Well, that's a pretty good look at the NBA. As always, if you're looking for more information on these games or any other games, don't forget to stop by and check out winnersandwhiners.com. Deep dives and predictions into every single game every single day. So it is the absolute place to be if you're looking for second opinion, deep dive, total sides, that kind of thing, prop bets. We got them all over there. So check that out as well. Of course, we wish you guys nothing but the best on all your plays. Hope every one of those tickets in your pocket turns into cash money back at the window. All right. You guys have a great day. For myself, for Scott Reichel, we appreciate you listening. And we will see you next time on Today in Sports Betting. Take care, everybody.